Hello, in this video we are going to talk about how to install SQL 2016 in June of 2017. The reason for this video is because they keep changing the installation, and I want to kind of refresh the video on how to do this. The first step is to get a copy of SQL Server's 2016 from Microsoft's Visual Studio Dev Essentials. Just a search on Visual Studio Dev Essentials will bring you to this website. Now, at that point, you have to have an account. If you have a Hotmail account or a Live account or one of the other Microsoft domains, you can just use that. Join or access now. There we go. So here's the SQL Server Developer Edition. Developer Edition is indeed the one you want. A couple of reasons for it. It has all the features that you can get, and you don't have to uninstall it at some point in time. So it's going to be on your machine until you actually feel like uninstalling it. It's not going to lose its licensing. Choose the basic option. Read through the instructions, the agreement. Choose the location and say install. And just let it cook for a while. This actually works pretty well, and the basic installation will indeed just get the basic stuff on there. However, it will do a pretty decent job, and you can always go back and add more features later on. So as of now, I'm actually recommending that that's the way to get started. And if we ever need to add additional features, we can. And I'll show you how that's done. The process takes a while. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and come back when the download's finished. Okay, so now we're faced with the installation screen, completion, and saying that it was completely installed. That's awesome. There's a couple of nice little links here that you could find, like where the installation log file is. But probably the most important one is this one right here in the middle, in which case it tells you where the media folder is. And the significance of that is I can later on add on features because it downloaded these support files. So I can just go through and run through the setup again and add more features. Now you can customize the installation by adding new features by just clicking that button, but the problem is it usually demands that you have a restart of the server before you do so. In fact, I always recommend you restart the server right after, or your computer, right after you do your installation. Probably another important part is noticing the instance ID. In this case, it's server 01. That's going to be important because we need to connect to that machine by that name after we install the SQL Server Management Studio. To install the SQL Server Management Studio, there's a button down here you can click. All that does is take you out to the internet where you could download the software. So clicking that button doesn't hurt. You just need to go through and click on the download link. You can also just search for SQL Server Management Studio on the internet. Download the installation. It's about 3/4 of a gigabyte in size, but it may take a few minutes to install just for the fact that there's some other supporting files that need to be downloaded and installed. All you really need for the course is, or most of my courses, is SQL Server basic installation and the SQL Server Management Studio. But some of my other courses, we have to download additional software, or install additional software. And that means going through and running through the installation program yet again and adding on those features. So that's something you want to talk about next. Let's go take a look at that. To install the additional software, the first thing you need to do is start up the Installation Center. So come over here to the M's, looking for Microsoft SQL Server 2016, and I'm looking for the installation. Now, unfortunately, at the time of this video, Microsoft still hasn't fixed this where it can be expanded. So you may have to hover over to figure out which one you're looking at. But there's two versions, a 64-bit version and a 32-bit version. I'm going to go ahead and use my 64-bit version, but I'm not sure it makes much difference. And when this comes up, we want to go to Installation and add standalone installation or additional features. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to go find the installation files that were downloaded. Let's see, that was SQL Server Media on C drive. Developer is the one you want. So we say okay at that point. And that should launch the setup process again. Now, common things to come up at this point is that it says your computer needs to be restarted. If that's the case, unfortunately, you have to back out of here and restart the computer and then come back in, and then that'll be gone. The other one is a firewall warning. That's perfectly fine. It just means that by default, your laptop can't connect to your desktop can't connect to your laptop and access SQL Server. So that has to be turned on. That's not something that we usually need to do in any of my classes, and certainly something you can look up and do at some other point, so nothing to worry about. You say next, and you'll see I have a whole bunch of installations of SQL Server. This is kind of important. The one that you just installed, in my case, the one I just installed was this one here. And it's designated by 01 versus this name up here, MS SQL Server. This MS SQL Server is a default installation, which means that I connect to it by just putting in the name of my computer. But every other one I actually have to type in the name of my computer, followed by a backslash. Say, for example, I want to connect to SQL 2014, one of my installations. I would type in my computer name or the word localhost or local in parentheses or even a period. All those mean this my individual machine. Followed by a backslash and then SQL 2014 because that's what I named it the day I installed that. And the new installation, it would be MS SQL Server 01. So we want to install a new installation of SQL Server or add features. It's I'll go ahead and click on add features so we can see what that does. And I'll choose the new installation I just made. And here I'll be able to see that I want to install things like analysis server, reporting server, or integration server. Integration server cannot be installed more than one time on a machine. And because of that, it's already grayed out. But on most people's machines, that will be an option. You can check that. Those three servers are ones I have classes on a regular basis. The analysis server is a cube server, reporting server is for reports, integration server is for importing, exporting, and automation. There are lots of other options, but those would be the ones I would normally choose. Going forward with that, in this case, there'll be redundant installations of analysis server and reporting server. I can go ahead and use servers accounts recommended, that's fine. But the most important thing not to miss is make sure that you add the current user. You have to press that button. Otherwise, the installation gets done and you won't be able to access the installation. You won't be able to access software you installed, which seems kind of odd that would be the case, but it is. You have to press this button. So don't forget this button. that ruins a lot of people's time and installation. So that's it. I would continue on from here, and in a few minutes it would actually go through and do the installation. There is a configuration option here where you can install only or install and configure. The default is fine with this. The configuration rules go through. Everything should look all right. You can review it and then hit install, and in a few minutes, it won't take that long. It'll actually get those set up for you. Now at that point, you should have Management Studio installed, the database engine installed, possibly Analysis Server, Reporting Server, and Integration Server installed. The last thing you might need is the SQL Server data tools. These allow you to go through using Visual Studio and install, go ahead and do configurations. So if you're working with Analysis Server, Reporting Server, or Integration Server, you're going to need this as well. If you're not working with any of those three servers, you don't necessarily need this. It's just a nice to have. So that should get SQL Server installed for you. Remember to sign into Dev Essentials. Select the Developer Edition. Use the basic installer. Note the name of the SQL installation. Install SQL Server Management Studio. And then optionally, you can install Analysis Server, Reporting Server, and Integration Server. They're sometimes called server and services interchangeably, so don't let that fool you. And make sure you add the current user as you're doing the Analysis Server install. That should do it. Good luck on that, and hope this helped.